Politics in America today, and pretty much since 2016, since Trump entered the scene, has been defined by a profound lack of respect between people of different political ideologies, different political parties, and whether that is justified or not, the situation has gotten progressively worse for the last 8 years or so. But today, we've seen a particularly vicious and awful lack of respect for a former president who was just passed and a great humanitarian by the incoming president. For those of you that haven't heard, there's been a bit of a political spat started by Trump about how the flags are going to be flown at his inauguration. And that due to the fact that Jimmy Carter passed away less than a month ago, those flags by federal law have to be flown at half-staff, which Trump is not a fan of. Now, this is not some new law that Trump is going after. This is the established code of how to handle the United States flag properly and with respect. It was something that was codified in law back in the 1970s during Richard Nixon's administration, so it has been around for quite a while. And a very crucial part of that law that Trump is particularly upset about is the fact that after a United States president dies, former or current, no matter what, they get a mourning period of 30 days, where across the country it is the law, or rather just the specific code of how to treat the US flag, that you fly it at half-staff for the entirety of the month after that president dies. Now, Trump at first did follow this ordinance. I mean, he is a private citizen, but at Mar-a-Lago he was flying flags at half-staff until about a minute after Jimmy Carter was in the ground. Less than a week after Jimmy Carter's funeral, with still half a month left in the official mourning period, Trump began flying flags on his properties, particularly Mar-a-Lago, at full staff. And then he began openly complaining about the regulation and how he wasn't going to let it affect his inauguration. And Trump's complaining about how secretly the Democrats are happy that Jimmy Carter had died and that this was all a great effort to embarrass him and make his inauguration look worse somehow. People were actually taking him seriously. Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott, among other Republican governors, announced that on Trump's inauguration day, they would not be respecting that federal statute, and they would instead, for the one day that Trump has been inaugurated, have the flags at full staff and then go back to respecting Jimmy Carter right after, which you can kind of see is a little bit pathetic, as it were. The federal flag code does not say that you respect a former president for 30 days, except for one, if a guy that you like is getting inaugurated. Because that is what the Republicans are doing. And it wasn't too long before Mike Johnson himself was playing ball and going along with this absolute disrespectful nonsense. And that's probably the most significant person to get on Trump's side on this, because pretty much by precedent and by tradition, the president is always inaugurated at the Capitol building, which is a part of Washington, D.C., which is officially under the jurisdiction of the United States Congress, which is a pretty long way of saying that Mike Johnson gets to decide how the flags are flown during Trump's inauguration. And he is going to fly them at full staff, perfectly in line with Trump's wishes. Now, I think that's going to lead to a very interesting and very poetic contrast in the United States on the day of Trump's inauguration. Because in Washington, D.C., and in some of the places where there are Republican governors who are fanatically loyal to Donald Trump, the flag of the United States is going to be flown at full staff in complete celebration of Trump and in a complete rejection of the respect under federal law that is meant to be paid to Jimmy Carter. And the rest of the country is not going to do that. Now, not only will most states, all Democratic ones, and I'm sure some Republican-leaning ones, respect the official period of mourning, but Joe Biden will be president up until the moment that Trump is sworn in. And he has personally declared that all federal properties will be flying their flags at half-mast until Trump is officially sworn in. So you're going to see most of the country in a period of complete mourning, showing respect to a president that has died. And on the other side of things, you are going to see Donald Trump and his lackeys in outward defiance of the most basic type of respect for a man who has died and celebrating the fact that they don't care about that. Okay, so this was a much shorter video than usual. It was just something I really wanted to comment on. But while I've got you guys, and if you've stuck around to the end, you're probably a regular viewer or a new one, I wanted to thank you immensely for coming over to this platform. With TikTok on the way out, probably in the coming days, about 5,000 people from TikTok have come over and have subscribed here. And that does mean the world. It was quite astounding to see my follower count go from 10 to 15,000 over the course of about 3 or 4 days. So that means a lot, and I'm incredibly glad that you guys are sticking around. I hope that you enjoy the content that I continue to make here, and I'm just overall so grateful for your support, and I'm happy that we're going to have this way to continue whatever this relationship is. So thank you to all the people that have come over, that have maybe just found me through the algorithm too. It means the world, and I hope I can keep making videos for you guys for as long as possible.